I'm still working on this wheel horse model 704 garden tractor. Last time I put the recoil starter on the engine and changed the starter cup, so that should all be good. But the starter skips a tooth almost every time I pull it. That won't work. So now I think I have to swap out that flywheel cover, because it's not holding the starter in line with the center of the crankshaft. A few years ago, when I cleaned up this tractor, I tried to save the rusted out flywheel cover. Apparently I didn't get it back to its original shape, so now it don't hold the starter where it needs to be. I found this other starter housing on one of my parts engines. These with the threaded holes to mount the pull starter are getting hard to find. It's got some heavy rust on the bottom. I'll bet there's a hole under some of that. This one's off a K141. That's a 6 horsepower. I'll swap that tag with the other one so that information stays with the correct engine. I think I'll work on getting this serial number tag off first. These things snap into the hole, but it's harder to get them to snap out of the hole. I'm going to push on the backside with a piece of wood. I'll put some pressure on the end and kind of waller it around a little bit. If you push too hard, you can smash them. You're trying to get those 3 barbs to release from the hole. Looks like it's starting to let go. I can probably get the screwdriver behind it now. Keep your finger on it so it don't go flying. Okay, that all looks good. The bigger the wire wheel is, the more work you can get done. But you gotta be careful with no guard on there. Put those little rivets in a jar or something so you don't lose them. I'm going to clamp this to the table, and I use a smaller wire brush to finish. Something hit the pull starter when it was on this engine, so the cover's dented where each starter leg was mounted. I'm going to work on those. Got to do it on a clean, flat surface. I'll start with a big pin that's flat on the end and mash the thread insert back where it should be. Now the area around the insert needs fixed. I'll have to get a smaller punch for that. I use the bigger punch until it don't fit, then finish with the small one. That's a lot better. I'll do the same thing to all those. Now I want to work on that lip there. I need an anvil that fits inside this round housing. This junk piece of metal should work. And a round hammer with a flat face. Now I'm going to work on the rust. I want to smash the rust to separate it from the metal. And I do it on a flat surface so the metal don't get distorted. And only use the pointed hammer on the bigger chunks. Now I have the big chunks off. I switch to a hammer with a rounded nose so I don't put dents in the metal. I'm still trying to smash the small rust particles. Now it's down to what's really left of the metal. It has a few drain holes in the bottom now. I'm not going to fix those, just want to keep it from getting worse. Now I need to take this flywheel cover off. I'm going to put this old pulley hub on the crankshaft. There's a key to go in the key slot. And I'll grab that with a pipe wrench so I can get the nut loose. Now I need to put this serial number plate on the other cover. So I'll push the little rivets out. One of the little push rivets is broken. It should have 3 legs on there. You can tell it's been broken for years, so it would probably still work, but I'll replace it with the good one from that other cover. That looks good. I think these bolts are too long. This one down here's not too bad, but the upper one has too much sticking out past the threads. Over time, the bolt gets rust on it, then it won't thread back through its own hole anymore. I'm going to use new shorter bolts all around. Well, let's see how that works. It's skipping teeth again. That's kind of depressing. I'm going to walk the dog and think about it. I'm trying to get the starter to be centered on the starter cup. I'm going to measure the difference from this step, which is part of the starter, down to the outside of the starter cup, which is bolted to the flywheel. I'll measure in different places around the outside to find the highest number and the lowest number. If these parts are lined up properly, that measurement would be about the same all the way around. Looks like the lowest number is near the top. I'll look at the bottom. Yep, that's a lot more. The number I had for the top here was 250 thousandths. That's what that is. And at the bottom, it's 375 thousandths. The difference between 250 and 375 is 125 thousandths. That's an eighth of an inch. I should be able to get it better than that. I want to verify my lowest number was towards the upper left here. I'm going to loosen these bolts and make sure the starter's moved that way as far as possible. Now I'm showing 80 thousandths difference instead of 125, so that's better, but not good enough. I'm going to loosen the housing and try to float that to where it needs to be. Now I'm showing 35 thousandths difference, so that's better.
That's the best it's been.
I'll measure the other direction just to make sure I'm not making it worse. I'm going to try to shift the housing again. Now everything's within 10 thousandths all the way around. That's close to on center now, but something's rubbing where it's not supposed to be. It's probably touching the flywheel fins at the big hole. I'm going to leave the housing bolted in place, because that's where I want it. And I'll take off the starter to see if I can fix the rubbing. There it is. It feels like it's near the top of the flywheel hole. Now I need to take the starter cup off again to see what's going on. That's where it's touching. It's mostly at the top. I can't bend it by hand. Maybe this brake adjuster tool will fit in there. That's working pretty good. I'll move around and flex it out so it don't touch. Don't forget to put the tab in the right place. The lock washer usually marks up the nut, so I put the nut back on the same way each time. Always torque the flywheel nut properly, because the flywheel's seated on a tapered shaft. I'm going to check and make sure it's back where I want it. That looks good. Let's see if it works. That sounds good. Doesn't skip a tooth. It sounds like it's supposed to. I'll take the air cleaner off so I can squirt some gas in there. It's got some gas in it from last year. I'm going to see if it'll run on that. It don't smell too bad yet. Make sure the choke and throttle plates are open so the gas goes in there. Like on any cold engine, I'll close the choke and open the throttle lever slowly until the throttle plate just reaches the open position. Make sure the run switch is on. I like to push the pedal in to release the belt when I'm pulling on the starter. Then you're not wasting energy turning the belt and the transmission input shaft. That's good. So it should run when it gets some gas in there. That sounds good. I'm going to leave the choke on halfway. That's another good sign. They don't like having the choke on after it warms up. If you use a squeeze bottle like this to squirt gas with, you gotta remember to loosen the cap or it'll pee all over the floor for you. I'm gonna drive it around the yard like I usually do. Let's see if it'll restart again. Well, I was choking it when it didn't want to be choked. I'll have to get used to how to start it each time. The starter works nicely. I think that's the last thing I had to do to this tractor. Alright, that's it.